Hello and welcome to All Talk, the Geekbox Forums community podcast. This is episode 21 for the week of June 25th, and I am Dakazu from the Geekbox Forums, and who is with me?
Biggie.
Mr. X.
And Totoro.
How's it going, guys?
Not too bad.
Pretty good.
Are you guys excited that we might have potentially, more people listening?
Yeah, we may
after
be
the
up to,
Twin Peaks cast with Higgins?
we may be up to dozens now, I don't know.
I'm a little nervous.
I think you're exaggerating. I think it's 12, maybe 13 people.
Yes!
Broke
So-
double digits.
In case this is your first time listening, we are the podcast for the community members of the Geekbox, like I said. And we're members on the forum. And you can join this podcast too if you'd like. There's information about the Mumble server under the games thread.
Yes.
And,
Section of the forums, not thread.
Yeah, you can download the client runs on OS or Windows.
Runs on everything.
Yeah, basically. Even
Your
on my phone.
Probably a toaster.
It's like Ventrilo, but I think it's
Better.
better quality, yeah. I would say better than Skype, because I find that Skype is kind of high resources.
Oh yeah, this is super low resources. Makes it perfect for games.
Yeah, which is why we started it. But yeah, you can come in here, you can come hang out with us, you can play Cards Against Humanity with us. This is what we'd like to do.
We were just doing that.
And when you're really, really annoyed by us, you can go into a different channel so you don't have to hear us.
Yeah, we have lots of channels.
Yeah, there's some people who come on here and then don't talk to us and just go into other channels to play their stupid games. I'm not going to name names, but Bob.
Yeah, but
Bob play?
he's
Diablo.
playing Diablo with his friend.
Well, we might want to play Diablo with him.
I'm done
If you
playing
weren't level
Diablo.
16.
Yeah,
I'll get back to Diablo eventually, but for right now, I'm good.
They may have increased the repair cost a little too much.
You guys all raced ahead of me, and now I have no one to play with, so I'm kind of sad.
Well, I know how you feel.
Well,
It might
you
be
know what
fun
to say
to go
about people
back.
that snooze.
Snooze,
they
dude.
get a good night's rest.
No, they end up
If you start
oversleeping for hitting the button too much.
If you start a second character in Diablo, can you skip normal and
No.
start
No.
right? No?
Because
You must
there's
take
always
that
have to
character
play-
through it.
So you always have to
How would
play
you?
8 hours of boring before you get to the fun stuff.
How would you be able to skip it? Because you'd be level 1, and then you would just jump straight to Nightmare.
I don't know.
Nightmare,
They
you'd get
scale it.
raped.
They scale it so that if you're low level in Nightmare,
But that's the point of Nightmare, or that's the point of normal, going into Nightmare, feeding into Hell, feeding into Inferno.
yeah, but there's no possibility of dying in normal.
And you can level up quicker
And then as
because
soon
you
as
can just join
get
people
into
in Act 4
Nightmare,
or
you
3.
start to die right away.
That's the point.
Or at least I did until I went to the auction house and bought better gear.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I think that's
Anyways.
the main problem with Diablo 3, just to finish up, is that it became a money issue, right? It became a grind for money. Money for the auction house, money for gear. Well, actually, that's the same thing. I mean money for repairs, all that stuff.
And the prices on the
Ironically,
auction house, it's like a highway robbery.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, and ironically,
No.
they raised the repair prices just after they start the real money auction house. I smell, the fixes in.
No, I just now sell everything for gold, and then I go into the auction house and I set like a low max, and then I just pick items that are at my skill level, and that's it.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
But what level are you?
I'm now 39,
Yeah, it gets expensive.
wait till you get up into the high 50s
like into the
and
50s,
60s.
and then then people
I
want
sold
buy
that.
1 million coins.
I sold a helmet for $1 million. Audi sold a ring for $50 in the money auction house.
I thought they. Oh no, they kept you at 250. That's right.
You talking about God Audi or Lord Audi from the forums? I
They're
forget
one
what
and the
his forum-
same.
I know, but I forget what his forum name is.
I don't know. I
It's
call him
Lord
Audi.
Mm-hmm.
You could just pick a name and stick with it.
Well, yeah, well, and in the Mumble server here, it's a democracy. There are no lords or gods here.
Well, there's one.
Yeah,
This is
Mr.
true.
X.
So X,
Yes.
Tell us about this unpleasantness.
Someone took my pants.
What?
Has anybody seen my pants?
Biggie hasn't heard this story.
Like at the pool, or like
At
while
the
you're
gym.
walking
He got
down the
robbed knife
street?
point. He
I
got
was
held
at
up
the-
by a knife, and the guy was like, "Give me your pants."
Were they nice pants?
I was
I
at
feel
the-
so
I
bad
was-
laughing, but
I was at the gym, and someone broke into my locker, and I had a lock on it. The lock was gone. I noticed my bag sitting out, and my pants are gone. And then I'm freaking out saying, where are my pants? I have to go back to work. And...
Oh, that would be an issue.
Yes, it would. And then someone was helping me look for them and found them in the trash with my wallet and phone missing.
Okay.
Left my keys.
You just got
fortunately.
straight up robbed.
Yes.
And this was in the greater Atlanta area.
Yep.
So, people of Atlanta, you need to know that there is a pants stealer.
Well, a pants thrower aware of...
And a wallet stealer and a phone stealer.
You said you had a padlock on your locker,
That's
right?
kind of crazy, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Padlock.
So
You had to have a key
that
to
person
open
they need to come in with some heavy duty stuff because you can't just
No,
cut
no.
it off.
You
Bolt
can
cutters.
break them open with a pen.
What?
Can you
so
really?
them- Yeah, you
No,
can
it's
keep
a
it.
padlock we're talking about, not like one of those.
Depends how big a padlock is, but you can stick it in between the two parts of the lock, and then you use it as a pry bar, and it just pops it open. If they're weak locks, you can do it.
Now, was this a combination
I'm not
lock?
saying I was a delinquent once, but I was a
Or was
delinquent
it the actual
once.
lock and key? Like the
Lock and key.
Oh,
That is a key.
okay.
It's like
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
that
open
sucks.
like the bike locks with a pen too.
I wasn't the only one that had this happen to, though. There was 2 other guys. But one guy only lost his lock, and the other guy lost his keys. So he was super freaked out about his car.
In his car, yeah.
But he
I
didn't
think-
really speak to English. He was this Asian guy. He was not happy.
Does that mean you?
I can
Does that
imagine.
mean you have to do like all the new ID, cancel all your credit cards, all that kind of stuff?
Yep, I still need to go get the ID.
Out of those 3 people, I think you got the booby prize because you lost your wallet and your phone.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
like
You had your
double.
social card in there. What were you
Yeah.
thinking, man?
Well, when I was like 15 years old, my mom told me that I was supposed to always keep my social security card in my wallet.
Your mom is wrong.
I know this now.
I keep mine in wallet.
Don't do that.
Oh, no.
Don't
What's wrong with
do
you?
it. Just keep it at home in a safe place.
Jen
they
did
have
the same
social-
thing. And Jen
Yeah.
lost hers too.
Yeah,
you
she
don't.
had,
You don't need it on you. Like it's not like your driver's license where you constantly use it. You know.
Yeah, that's like almost akin to having, the title to your car on you at all times. It's the
I race for
title to
pink
you.
slips, yo.
So I had to call the credit bureau and put out a fraud thing. So now I'll get a call if anybody tries to take out like a credit card or something in my name.
So does that like bork your ability to buy things on Steam for like the next month?
No, because fortunately I forgot to bring my debit card with me.
Oh, okay.
So my debit card I forgot at home. So I was kind of upset about that until my wallet got stolen.
Worked out.
Certainly sounds like it.
Oh yeah, it worked out great. I was getting my phone stolen and my
Well,
wallet, and
could
now
have been worse. Well,
I'm
because if
using
they-
an iPhone 3G.
Well, but look at it this
Oh,
way,
you have reason to
if they'd taken your debit card, usually there's no protection on that. They could have just drained your card, just like buying shit at the at the store or something.
That is true. But I was only away from my locker for 15 minutes before it happened.
Oh, jeez.
It was awful.
I'm sorry, man.
I think
And
I'm going to cancel
but-
my membership to that gym.
I don't blame.
That's their fault.
Do they have anything like posted saying we're not responsible
Yes.
for?
Of course they
Because-
do. All gyms do that.
Well, I rarely actually use the lockers. I just I change at home, and then my gym shorts have pockets in them, and I don't even think I take my always lived close enough to my gym that I don't even take my wallet. I just take my keys.
I leave my wallet in my car, but I don't. For X, it's because it was your lunch break, right? So
Right.
Yeah,
you
we're
gotta
going
get
to my
changed.
lunch. Exactly.
But hey, man, at least you don't have the fucking shingles like I do.
This is the malady cast.
Yeah, I heard he had scurvy.
It's
I thought it
not
was leprosy.
scurvy. Oh, you guys are the worst. No,
It
I
might
have
be
the
a-
fucking shingles, man. It sucks.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor. It's adult chicken pox, and
Do you have-
it just
Do you have skin aids?
yeah,
It
sure.
probably
whatever.
feels
That's
like
not
it.
even.
What a Biggie, don't argue with him. Just fucking go with it.
Skin aids.
Yes. No, the thing about it is it's a really small rash that I had, and it was hard, and I wasn't sure what it was, and it didn't go away. So then I went to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's shilling. Not shillings.
Shillings? You really do have a
I
pirate
got
disease.
Kurt Schilling.
You have a case of 38 Studios.
Yeah, 38 studios getting closed. Your body is shutting you down.
Going into bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy, yeah.
Skin
Hopefully-
vacancy.
Hawk.
Epic Mega Games will buy out your heart and you'll live on.
No,
Pretty sure they're just called Epic now.
all I was saying was that I don't know if you guys have had shingles, but
No.
it's not the
No.
rash part that sucks. It's because you get the rash and then you get like nerve pains around your body. So like my left shoulder was like kind of bothering me. I mean, luckily my case of shingles was really light. Like I had a super small patch, and my shoulders were barely hurting. So I'm on steroids right now. And,
So you're going
it's
to the
kinda
gym
clearing
trying
up.
to bulk up? While you're
I
on
went to the
steroids?
gym today, and holy cow.
Are your guns huge?
No, my guns are not huge, but like I was kind of on a huge runner's high, and then I called my wife, and I was being really obnoxious.
We're talking about your
So-
guns.
No, so just like normal.
Yeah, ha, 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 ha.
You're like, you should check out my guns right now. And then you sent her pics of your guns.
I wish I did. That sounds really good. But yeah, shingles, it sucks. Like I guess I got it because the week prior, like my friend came up to visit me in Hawaii, and we spent a lot of
Oh,
time
that's
at the
right.
beach, and I got a really bad sunburn. So
Oh,
doctor says, low immune system, sunburn, that'll do it.
Yeah, sunburn sucks. Last year when I went to Savannah, I got super bad sunburn. So I feel your pain. Not about the shingles, but the sunburn.
Okay.
I just don't go out in the sun. That's
Did-
that's what Uncle Totoro says to do. Don't
Did you
go
know
out in
you
the
can
I
get
just live in
the?
Canada.
Did you know you can get the equivalent of second-degree burns from the sun?
Yeah.
That's what I had.
There was a friend of mine. It's a guy I lived with him right before I married Mrs. Totoro, and basically we were friends throughout high school and everything. But he would go on this trip every year, and one of the things he would do, they would canoe down one of the rivers or like on this lake or what in the hell ever. But he would come back like every year from this trip, and he would have like shoulder to shoulder blisters.
Oh,
And like his shins would be blistered up and the tops of his knees would be blistered up. It's like he never learns.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I had, but it was on my face, and then they like split
Oh,
open,
jeez.
and like it was like running down my
Can we
face.
stop talking about this?
It was
Gross.
really gross. I went to the doctor.
That's- Wow. Okay, I had some things I was thinking about saying, but never mind.
And all the new listeners just unsubscribed.
Just love subbed, yeah. Congratulations, X.
Mission accomplished.
Should we talk
You know-
video games then?
Real quick before that, you mentioned you listeners again. If you want to go back and listen to some of the older episodes, I suggest you start with episode 9. That's the one where we talked about arcade games and
Oh,
arcade
that one was good.
experiences.
That was fun.
Yeah, and Biggie was there, and that was when we were
Bob,
still saying
and
our
you were
names.
there.
Yeah, I was
You
there.
were there.
Mm-hmm.
He was there.
Rodney was there, I think.
And Montreal was there.
Well, Rodney's here
Yeah.
now, right, Rodney? How dare you say that, Rodney?
Oh,
Oh God.
I still need to look at those recordings to see if I just screwed that up. I think
Too
I
much
did.
inside baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
let's
you wanna
talk
talk about
about
video
games.
games? X bought a new one that I was too
Yep.
cheap to not buy. So tell me why
Well,
I should have
You
bought
were
it.
too cheap to not buy. So you bought it?
What?
Oh,
What
wait.
are you guys talking about?
Quantum Conundrum, and I
Oh.
bought it as well.
By
Or too
Tim
cheap to buy,
Swift,
yes.
who
Yeah,
did
this-
Portal.
Yeah, I was actually fortunate enough that last year when I was at PAX Prime to be there when they announced the game. They did a quick demo of it. It was really good then. I think I actually mentioned it back on an earlier podcast. I think it may have been either the first or second episode when we were talking about what we were looking forward to for the year. But it was something that I brought up then.
Yeah, and like Portal, it's a puzzle game.
Yeah, first-person puzzler.
But it's not. Well, it is a lot like Portal. It seems to have test chambers where you have to try to get out of a room, and there's a guy talking to you.
Who does the voice of?
I think it's John Delancey.
So I have a question.
Q.
Did anyone
Q.
play the ball?
Yeah.
No,
Did anyone ever play the ball or cube?
negative.
Nope.
No, negative. I was just wondering. Like, see, I have so many games like this already. That's why I was hesitant to pay $15 for it.
Well, this is a lot like Portal, except you change like dimensions or whatever.
Yeah, now I've played it for about 30 minutes, and
I've
you
played
played
it
for about
40. Yes, I played it up to the first part where you can use the fluffy dimension and then the super heavy dimension.
Yeah, I had just gotten to the heavy, dimension.
I got to this part where I had to put a safe on a pad, and then I had to put a cardboard box on another pad, and then I had to make it fluffy so I could lift up the safe, and then I had to make it super heavy so the cardboard box would trigger the switch.
So you're changing like physical properties of the universe to solve puzzles?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everything gets covered in like fur, like a stuffed animal or something. Like
Yeah,
felt.
and it becomes super light.
Yeah, so like everything seems to be picking up safes for some reason. So you'll change it to the fluffy dimension, pick up a safe, throw it at a window, and then while it's in the air, switch it back to the regular dimension, and then it'll shatter the window.
Right.
Okay, so I have a question about this game because I've heard a bunch of stuff about the dimensions and stuff. So gameplay mechanics aside, tell me about, is there like a kind of story that's entertaining? Because the thing about Portal was not only was it good puzzles, it was like a great, hilarious story told by GLaDOS.
Yeah, well, there's Q talking to you. There is a story. I mean, it's... I'm not sure exactly what it is so far because I've only played for 40 minutes, but there's Q talking to you, and he
the guy
is not...
from James Bond?
No. From Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, Q.
Oh, cool.
But he's not as good as GLaDOS by any means.
No.
And you can tell that he's just reading.
Oh, you guys weren't joking. You're talking about that actor who plays Q.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
That was
on
being
trial.
literal.
Well, and the other thing about it is that makes it completely different is the fact that the guy talking to you, Professor Quadrangle, is your uncle, and instead of it's like he's like directly the opposite of GLaDOS, where GLaDOS is being antagonistic toward you. He's definitely being he's trying to help you help him.
Well, sort of. He's being
out.
super snarky about it.
Well, that too.
Okay, so all we can get really is your, judgment about this game because you guys haven't played that much. Do you feel like it's as good as Portal, or better, or not as good? What do you think?
Well,
Not as good.
I'm talking just in comparison to Portal.
Not as good.
I don't know. It's too early to tell.
Right now, I'm thinking that I like the universe and everything in Portal way better. But
Make a
I've
decision,
only played it
Toast.
for 40 minutes.
Well, it's
Judge it by its
totally
cover.
different.
Do it now.
Yeah. Snap
I-
judgment.
It's a first-person puzzle game with an unreliable narrator.
Do you think it's
not
going to
that
be
different.
good?
Is
or
he
worse?
unreliable or?
I'm guessing he's unreliable. I mean,
I think
he's
it's
a
gonna get-
scientist that got trapped in his own thing, so I'm
Yeah.
guessing he's unreliable.
I think it could be. I think it could be as good as Portal. That's how I feel.
That's your snap?
That's my snap. I don't know. I'm not going to say that to this point it's difficult. But one of the things, to go to your point about, the world, one of the things though that, you kind of put together later on is the fact that it's not just the world for Portal, but, Portal is connected to Half-Life, is connected to, Team
Well,
Fortress.
Portal is kind of in its own universe because it's all in the
Portal's connected to Team
Aperture.
Fortress?
Well, it's
on the Aperture
Byway.
Labs.
See, in Totoro's mind, Portal's connected to Team Fortress.
It's not really connected
Well-
to Team Fortress.
He has dreams
I'm
about
pretty
it.
sure Manco does not factor in Portal or Half-Life.
I think they've talked about. I feel like I've read that somewhere though that they have.
I wouldn't put a pal. I mean, it makes sense to
Does
tie all the
this-
products together.
Were you reading Dakazu's /fiction?
That may have been it. And then
You aren't supposed
Gordon
to tell
Freeman,
anyone about that, X. We had an agreement.
I'm sorry.
And
What's,
Shell said hello.
What's the owner
Shell
of
would never
Manco
say hello.
called? What's the Australian guy of Manco called? What's his name?
What?
Saxon
know.
Hale.
Yeah, Saxon.
Saxon Hale. That's it.
No,
Would win in a
that
fight.
universe is way too cartoony to fit in.
Aperture Science president or Manco president? Who would win in a fight? That's the big question that needs to be answered.
Would he be infected with the DNA of God? What was it? The bug. Portal 2. Mantis. Yes, Mantis.
Were you trying to make that praying mantis
Yes.
DNA joke? That failed horribly.
Yes, because I couldn't think of praying mantis.
That was not good. Let's talk about something else. Unless you guys have something else to say.
I will say that I do not think it'll be better than the two best games ever made.
Okay, if you're cheap like me, how much should I spend on Quantum Conundrum? That's
Well,
my
it's
question.
only $15. You should spend
$15.
$15. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, go for 50.
I bought 5 Cube games for $10 this week, and that's where I spent.
And
my
this
Steam
is our
money this
fault?
week. No, this is not your fault. This is purely my failing as a human being.
So you're trying to bring up that EA said that Steam devalues games.
Yeah. Steam, like Electronic Arts, has came out and said they're not going to put their games on regular sale and massive sales because they said they feel that it devalues video games. And like right now, I love Battlefield 3, but I am refusing to buy the DLC, the premium for Battlefield 3, because I don't like being forced into a bundle at $50 because I find that's too expensive. So do you think that Steam has made us all really cheap and not buy games, or do you think? That's my question.
Well, the Steam sales increase the sales of the games dramatically, and they make a lot more money off it. But if they're making more money, what does it matter if the games are devalued? I mean, if games were cheaper, more people would buy them.
Well, and I find personally that I wind up buying games that I maybe didn't have as much of an interest in, or like if it's bundled in with something else, that I was going to buy anyway, I'll wind up picking it up or something like that. At that sense, they're actually getting more money out of me than I normally would, because I think at the end of the day, the people who are going to buy a game, who are going to buy a game day one, they're obviously going to be paying $60 or $50 anyway.
That's true.
And so anything else is just gravy.
Have any of you been to that Lambent Stew website that tells you how many of your Steam games you've played?
No, it's probably sickeningly low for me.
I have only played 60% of the games I own on Steam.
It's
of the
probably
300
more
games I own
than
on Steam,
me.
I only have played 60% of them, which really freaks me out.
But what percentage of your PS3 games have you played, or 360 if you have those?
Every single one that I've bought, I've at least put in the machine. Well, wait a sec. I don't know. Does half an hour of Cool Sub Saga count?
Sure.
I
have yet to touch Brutal Legend.
I finished Brutal Legend. I like that game.
I still have what's it called? Mass Effect 3 sitting in plastic next to my door.
Just stop before you get to the ending, and you'll be good to go.
That's not. Sorry, I've God of War 3 still in the shrink wrap.
God of War 3 is pretty good.
I have a few games aside from like Mass Effect 3 that are still in shrink wrap. It's just that I may have gotten them as a gift or something. It's just like, well, I've not quite gotten into it yet.
But if Steam is devaluing games, what is PlayStation Plus doing with $50 a year, and you get like dozens of free games free for $50 a year?
I know, and yet I'm still not inclined to buy PlayStation Plus for some reason. I think I'm crazy.
Well,
yeah, you're dumb.
If they do,
no, you know what it is.
What?
I have bandwidth caps, so I can't afford to download the games.
Oh, Canada.
I know.
Wait, are you singing the Canadian national anthem?
Our home and native land.
No, I'm saying
our
"Oh Canada,"
home of
silly
bandwidth
Canada
caps.
with bandwidth caps.
Well, America has bandwidth caps.
Yeah, but mine are tiny.
Just ask Darfox.
Yeah, God. Well, but going back to the PlayStation Plus thing, I mean, it's still the same thing. Like with Steam, if Sony can drive people to pay for PlayStation Plus, and they can download games that are maybe a little bit older, but they've not played or purchased, then that's just that much easier for them to have that value add, because the people who are excited about something like, say, Infamous 2 or Virtua Fighter were already going to buy it, and now they've just driven people to... It's almost like a artificial value add. I mean, it really costs them nothing.
Well, really, it could have made people not buy Virtua Fighter. Because maybe people are going to buy it, but then they already have PlayStation Plus, and they said, oh, I'm getting this for free. I'm not going to buy it now.
Well, how old is Virtua Fighter?
It came out the week of E3. It went straight to PlayStation Plus for free.
So it's not Virtua Fighter 5, it's a different game.
It's Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown.
Okay.
It's the third Virtua Fighter 5 game.
I will say this, like, what Sony is doing with PlayStation Plus makes Xbox Live Gold look like less and less of a value all the time. Because, I mean, you can get most of the media services, the main ones, and then you get tons of free games. Whereas for Xbox Live, well, what do you get? You get to young children abuse you online when you suck at Call of Duty.
They still have party systems, and they're better with their
yes,
that kind of stuff.
There.
Yeah, joining your friends
experience
online and everything
is better.
Yeah, joining your friends online and everything is a lot easier on 360 than
Smoother
PlayStation.
interface, works faster, works nicer.
Just hitting the button, sending a message, so much easier.
Oh, I agree. But, tons of free games is a very compelling offering, right?
That being
Yeah,
said,
I think-
Steam is still easier than 360.
If
If it's Steam
because if it's Steamworks, even then I don't know about that because there's so many people have misconfigured mics on the PC. I mean, the amount of clicking and stuff like that, or mics on all the time that you hear on the PC is really ridiculous.
Oh, you hear
I
that
don't
all
know
the
about
time
that.
on 360 too. You'll hear people blaring music and them
That's
yelling at their mom to get them chocolate milk.
Well,
I'm just gonna play
it's a
devil's
good mom.
advocate and say, don't forget with PC gaming, you have a lot of PC gaming problems, like video
Having to
cards
upgrade
not
every
working with right drivers and all sorts of stuff, and like,
I'm just saying Steam as a service is better than Xbox Live.
well, it's free.
It doesn't have the free system stuff yet that Xbox Live has, so we'll see.
Well, games have it sort of. Like Left 4 Dead has a party system.
Have you ever tried to matchmake in Left 4 Dead with for a 4v4 competitive with 4 people? It takes so long to get matched. It's just not worth it. It's better just to run a public server. And
Why are you
hope that have run.
matchmaking in PC gaming anyway? You should just be looking at servers and stuff.
Well, Dota 2 has matchmaking, as does Super Monday Night Combat.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we
it's
know how
matchmaking
well
works.
Super Monday Night Combat works.
Very true.
Yeah, though it's been. Remember when we first played?
And
Yeah,
I'm
it took
really
like
hoping-
8
really
hours to
painful.
get into a game.
X and I were in a queue in Super Monday Night Combat for like 10 minutes trying to get connected to a game. The game when we played it was fun.
Super Monday Night Combat is great.
Like, I
The
really
price is right.
hope that the new Counter-Strike, when it actually goes live, has proper queuing and matchmaking, because what makes Counter-Strike so compelling for me was its competitiveness, or the competitive league play, and if they can recreate that easily, casually, then I will basically give up all other games again.
There's no way they can recreate that casually because Counter-Strike was such a hardcore game that no matter what, anyone that's just playing it for the first time is going to be at an extreme disadvantage to people that have been playing it for over 10 years.
Oh yeah, I know, but like if you can, I don't know if you've ever done ESA, like pugging on ESA, where basically
I
you
think
pay
you're
them.
making up words right now.
I think you
No.
need to explain that because I don't know what that is.
So okay,
Electronic
so there's
Software
like
Association?
there's a website that's like for like basically amateur professional CS players, right? You pay them money and they have a matchmaking like pugging system. So basically you make a team, you pug, you get set up
Pugging
into
as in
teams
pickup
of
groups.
pickup groups, yeah, and you get set into teams and then you battle and then you get ranked and it keeps all the stat data about you and all this kind of stuff, and $dollars a month for that privilege. And there's no reason why Valve couldn't integrate that kind of system directly into the new Counter-Strike. And
So
I
That's
really
a
hope they
paid
do.
service.
You actually paid for that?
Yep.
Wow.
It
How
was
much?
compelling enough.
You just said it was
$5.
$5 a month.
$5 a month, yeah.
You
Okay,
were
that's
really
pretty
into
good.
Counter-Strike.
I played
Well, if that's
nothing
what you
but
play.
Counter-Strike for 5 years. Like I went Cal-Am. It was great times. I can shoot you a gun. Pretty fierce sometimes.
Shooty.
Yeah.
Rudy Tooty, point and shooty.
Not for me. I like co-op games better than I like PvE content. Player versus enemy. So
And if it's
co-op
PvP,
like Horde mode
I
from Gears of War and stuff like that. Left 4 Dead. Those things I like a lot better.
if it's PvP, I prefer them when they have like classes and stuff where it forces teamwork and you have to work together.
You
But-
mean like Team Fortress 2?
Counter-Strike
Actually,
does
I
have-
would have brought up Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I think that
Counter-Strike
had
does have classes.
a little bit better.
Because what gun you use is basically what type of player you are, right? So if you're an opper, you're going to be doing a different. You're using a machine gun, So, but
That's why
it's
I like
not
it when
like.
there's objectives.
I agree.
Like in Return to Castle Wolfenstein, like Beach Invasion, which was the best map, you had to breach through a wall so that you could get to a checkpoint, and then that's where you would spawn instead of on the beach. And then you had to go into the enemy's base and grab some documents and transmit them, and the transmitting point was in the enemy's spawn. It was a lot of fun. We had multiple objectives. It was really hard to do. Certain classes were the only ones able to blow up. You had to pick an engineer in order to blow through a hole in the wall. It was great.
Did you ever play Brink?
Brink is made by the people that made it. Yes,
Did you play Brink?
I played it a little.
Because that was awful.
Yes.
I
They've
was
yet
so
to be able to
so
capture-
excited for that game, and I was so depressed after I played it for like a week. I was like, oh my god.
I played it a little. It was. I mean, I don't think it was awful. I think it was not good, but not awful.
It was just not good. Felt like it was a game that was rushed, sadly, even though it came out a year late. Kind of like Diablo.
I don't think Diablo feels rushed. I haven't really come across any bugs or anything.
Error 37 says hello.
Well, that was like launch, and like all online games like that had problems at launch, especially when they sell that many copies at once.
But
I mean,
does that
look
give them
at
an
Super
exemption?
Monday Night Combat.
But that game was released early.
Yes, it was.
Like they're not making no claims that it's a finished product. They're like, this is a living product. They're going with the Minecraft model, whereas like Blizzard is selling you a high-end AAA PC title, and this is a company that's supposed to be extremely experienced with online systems, running the largest MMO in the world, and they just fall flat on their face in their launch.
But it only was like that for what, a day or two?
2 days.
Yeah, and then it was fine.
I don't know. I still suffer from lag every so often in that game, where my ping goes up to crazy amounts, and that's got to be server side.
Well, that's just because, you have to be connected online all the time. My ping is not good in that game either.
I don't think anyone is good. Mine's always around like 200.
And you shouldn't be having a problem under normal, but when you're at level 60 playing on Inferno, like a dip in your frame rate will kill you. Especially if you're fighting like a blue mob.
And then you have to pay 30,000 gold to repair your gear.
Yeah. That's probably why I haven't played Diablo in 2 weeks.
I should probably get on there because my authenticator was on my phone, which was stolen, and so they got in there and got all my goods.
You realize, have you called tech support yet?
I have not.
I told you, right? My friend, that happened to my friend. He got rid of his phone and forgot his authenticator was on there for WoW. And he was on, customer service. He was with them for 3 hours before he got it fixed.
That is ridiculous. I have the authenticator on my iPhone 3G now. I can probably just link that up, but I don't think whoever stole my phone is gonna figure out my username and password for Diablo.
Oh, you mean you didn't keep it in a clear text email in your mailbox?
Well, I did that, of course, and I had my email open on my phone, open to that email.
How many people do that? You go into executives' mailboxes, and you'll find a letter, unsent letter with all their passwords in it.
That is ridiculous.
That is security.
I get all my passwords tattooed on my arms.
Let's talk about something else.
Remember Sammy Jankus?
Well, do you want to go on to the movie box?
Not yet.
Not
yet. Early for that.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about that movie.
I think you need to lower your expectations for what we're going to say.
No, you're going to.
At least for what I'm going to say.
Do you want to talk about board games? You and Totoro?
We can talk about Crossfire. That's a board game, right? You've been caught up in the Crossfire. It's a game where you grab the ball bearings, put them in the gun, and then you have to shoot them at those little things and try to get them into the other person's goal.
You are so the child of the 80s.
I'm pretty sure that was early 90s.
Did you have a copy? No, that's not. Did you have a copy of Operation as well?
I still have a copy of Operation.
I also had Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Was buying a board game for a 4-year-old, and I was going to go buy Operation, and I was really upset because they've basically made that game have no challenge now. They've really simplified the shapes that you pull out.
What? That game was so hard. That was the point.
I know.
Wow, I just looked this up, and Crossfire was a board game created in 1971.
I told you, you're a child of the 80s.
But the marketing of it was in the early 90s with the television commercial.
I am
the
obsessed
amazing
with,
song.
Maybe. I am obsessed with board games. I own over 60 board games. So,
I don't own quite
that's
that
a
many,
lot.
but I have I think I have about
Do you have the Simpsons Monopoly?
20 or 30.
No. I have games like Puerto Rico or Ticket to Ride or Warlords or Dominion or Samurai Swords.
Have you ever played Candyland? Candyland?
I'm actually staring at a copy of Candyland right now.
That game was pretty good.
Now, I have tried to get into more of the European style board games, which is to say kind of the more grown up Catan.
Chess?
Let's ignore X. Let's ignore him. He's just trolling us.
But a couple of them that I've I've never had a chance to play, and I've always been kind of curious about, are they any good or anything like that. But like you brought up Puerto Rico and especially Dominion. I've heard like so many good things about Dominion. So why do I care about? Why would I sell me on Dominion?
Dominion is really sweet because it's really fast paced. So you can finish a game in about half an hour, no more than an hour. It's really simple to understand. Basically, it's a card game. So
That's
as
really
you play
long.
your turns,
I know you're saying like an hour, and I'm sure you're talking about like big 5-hour long like strategy games. But an hour is a long time to me.
Usually it plays about half an hour, but I mean, a board game is a social event, right? So when I go play board games, I go over to my friend's house. We get out, the pretzels and the peanuts. We get out some wine or some beer, and we sit down and we play for a couple hours, But we don't know. Like, if we were going to play Dominion, we would play multiple games of Dominion, or we play one game of Dominion and then a game of another shorter game. But otherwise, we usually play longer games like Civilization or stuff like that. But okay, so
what?
Yeah, there's an advanced
Civ board game.
multiple Civ board games. But
how does that game not last like 10 hours?
Civ board game lasts about 3.5 to 4 hours. Because you always basically the tech tree will always move forward, so the tech tree basically meters the game, so it will always eventually come to an end. Whereas like cultural victories are really hard, military victories are a little bit easier. No one's ever won a cultural victory when we played Civ. It's really hard. Anyway, but Dominion, it's really simple because you just have like 10 cards to choose from, and then you draw. You basically have gold to spend every turn, and you use that to buy cards, which then give you extra text effects to make your deck more powerful. And as you play, you just try to produce as much money as possible to buy the most powerful card, which is the most victory points. And then at the end, once a certain number of cards are off the table, the game ends, and whoever has the most victory points wins. And it's a lot of fun. It's really simple to learn. It's if you can make a simple decision and count to, I don't know, you can play.
Okay, now sell me on Trouble.
Trouble? It's got the pop-up bubble. That's what else you need. Got the pop-up bubble, you land on top of someone, and you send them back to the start. Oh no, wait, that's Sorry. Shit. I can't remember how Trouble plays.
You are not selling me on Trouble.
I can't remember how Trouble plays.
You have to get...
But sorry, you have
to get all of your pegs into and once you get all 4 in there, you win. But you have to get it into the right number, I think.
See, you don't know how... Actually, you can't stop. You can't stop is an awesome board game if you want something that's stupid. Basically, you just roll dice, and you have to keep... You roll the dice, and you have to keep rolling that number, and if you don't roll that number... Well, you can have 3 numbers going, so it's like craps, basically. You can have like 4, 7, and 11. And as long as you keep rolling a 4, 7, and 11, you can keep going. But if you roll something else, your turn's over. And it's the first person to get their piece all the way across the board wins. It's awesome. It's good for gambling with alcohol.
What about the Pac-Man board game?
Never played it.
Me either, but it existed.
I did play the Star Wars board game. Milton Bradley, that was pretty good. You had to go blow up the Death Star.
I've heard that the Battlestar Galactica board game is really
Battlestar Galactica.
Like whenever I go on
is awesome.
Whenever I go on BoardGameGeek.com, that's always one that like is way on there. They talk about that one a lot.
Yeah, that was for about 6 months because you can. It's 6 players, and basically 2 people are going to be hidden Cylons, and they have to like basically sabotage the humans without revealing themselves until about halfway through the game, and then it's more ages for them to reveal themselves. And it's wicked because everyone's like suspicious of each other, blaming each other, and if you can like get them to start blaming someone who's human, and they can get thrown in the airlock and thrown out into space. So it has all those dramatic elements that are from the television show to the board game, and it's really awesome. But sometimes if you roll bad at the start, then you're pooched as the humans, which kind of sucks, but it's a lot of fun.
About how long does it normally
that game takes longer. I would say 4 hours at least.
Jeez, okay.
Well, I don't know. I play with people that are kind of slow.
I kind of know what you mean. Well, it's not that the people I normally play with are slow. But I mean, I would say they make very deliberate decisions. I mean, they will take the time and make sure that they don't screw themselves, which is fine. But you know, a game of Catan can start running, you know, on the order of like an hour and a half.
Back of
2
the
hours.
Battlestar box says 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally for like if I want like a short game or something, you know, I'll go for like Ticket to Ride. I bought Carcassonne, but I've yet to really get a chance to sit down and play more than a couple of games of it.
I played that on Xbox Live Arcade, and I really liked it.
So, Biggie, have you ever gone to like a GenCon or anything like that?
No, I really want to go to GenCon, but Indianapolis is a long drive. It's a 12-hour drive away. Because I'm like a Fantasy Flight fanboy, and
they've got
and I just I just spend irrational amounts of money on where I'm too cheap for video games. I'll buy crazy board games.
How much? How much you spend?
I would say I spend about. See, I usually get a board game for Christmas and my birthday from different people. But personally, I spend probably about $400 on board games a year, I would say.
Wow.
But you know, board games aren't cheap.
That includes expansions and
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you have Shark Attack?
No, they're not.
No,
Why not?
because that's not the kind of board game I like. Let's see, the last board
Do
game.
you know what it is?
No, I could look it up, but no.
It's a game where there's the board, you know, the game board, and there's this giant mechanical shark going around, and it eats fish, and you're a fish, and you have to escape and get to the end before the shark eats you.
You know what? You should get Hey, That's My Fish. That is a board game you could play.
Hey, That's My Fish?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
What about Thin Ice?
It's about penguins stealing each other's fish.
Well, Thin Ice also has penguins on the box, at least.
Well, Biggie, what I was going to say was if you ever decide that you want to come down for Gen Con,
yeah,
let me know, and I will. I'll make sure that I'm in town that weekend. I mean, my family. I'm from Indy originally, so if you want to come down for that, or really, if anyone listening is going to be in town for Gen Con or anything, I am going to be in town that weekend. This year, it's going to be a little bit tight for me. With I have a friend who's getting married that weekend, but I might be able to make it down for like a day, and it would definitely be a good thing to kind of hang out with people. But if anyone is going to be in town for that, let me know, and I'll.
Totoro will buy you a
Gen
drink.
Con master.
I will buy you a beer.
Awesome.
Or a
You heard it
glass
here.
of wine, or you heard it here first.
You probably shouldn't drink it, though, because it's totally going to be spiked.
It's a beer.
But
or are you saying that I'm going to put roofies in it or
Yes.
something? MDMA.
You're going to put ecstasy in it.
my current board game of choice right now is Roll Through the Ages, which is like this is a game for you, Dakazu. It's like less than 30 minutes. It's Civilization Yahtzee. So basically, each die represents a city, and it can turn up people, food, disease, and commodity goods or commodity goods. And you basically just have to you run through your scorecard, and you build monuments, and you make more cities, and you make sure if you don't feed the cities, then you take negative points, and it's awesome.
I don't know. It's okay. So just to clarify, it's not really the time commitment so much. Is that board games are fun because, like you said, it's the social aspect, right? You're chilling with people, you're making jokes, you're talking, you're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that it's better if you pick games that have they're easy to understand immediately, and you can just get right into them. Kind of like the Cards Against Humanity that we play in Mumble. Like X played his first game today, and X it was really easy to understand, right? After a couple rounds.
Yeah, you just pick whatever's funniest.
I should hope.
Yeah, and then eventually we were playing off of what we thought, based on all of our personalities, what Totoro would think is funny and stuff like that.
Yep.
Did you know that
And it's
there's...
just-
Yeah, that game was hilarious. I was picking, what was that one that I picked? It was two choices. Just as an example, I'm trying to give us the type of things that come up. God, what was that?
Lifetime presents blank, the story of blank.
No, not that one.
Okay, maybe not then.
In case people don't know what Cards Against Humanity is, and I'll explain this while you think of it, X, is it's like apples. I think a bunch of podcasts have
It is like apples to apples.
Yeah, apples to apples. Basically, there is a black card that has a question on it. It might say something like blank, good to the last drop. And everyone who's playing is giving these white cards that have different things on it. Like it might say Altar Boys or like PCP. And you just play, every person plays a card that they think is funniest. And one person is designated, the cards are, and they get to pick what they think is the funniest. And if your card is picked, you get a point. And then you just play it to, you get like 10 points or whatever. You guys decide.
Hilarity
I think I remember what it was. We contacted the head of blank, and they declined blank.
Oh, the head of the U.S. Department of blank, and they declined your request for blank.
Yes. And I picked the Make-A-Wish Foundation and Sexy Pillow Fights.
Oh, so there's cards in Cards Against Humanity that require 2 cards?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
well, sometimes even 3.
You'll
have like blank. Yeah, sometimes you'll have like blank plus blank equals blank.
So that's
my favorite question card is the haiku card. It's like make a haiku.
Yeah, if you have
play 3 cards.
Don't have 575, it's like you're boned.
Did you know there was a Twin Peaks board game?
I wish I could own that. Who made it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, today I actually went ahead and ordered the Munchkin Deluxe Edition.
Munchkin's pretty fun.
You guys say Munchkin, I just think you're talking about donuts.
My
Timbits.
old roommate was a Munchkin fanatic.
Yeah, it's something that, I would really get into, or I could see how I would really enjoy getting into something, with RPG elements to it, but it's something that I can't really sell the wife on. So this was something that I don't know if you've seen the YouTube series or the web video series Tabletop, hosted by Will Wheaton, but he basically just sits down and plays a game with a few people. So there's 4 people altogether. Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
But he sat down and played Munchkin with Sandeep from the Guild and Felicia Day and Steve Jackson.
Like Steve Jackson of Steve Jackson's games?
Steve Jackson. Yes, Steve Jackson.
Okay.
Steve Jackson. And there's a point near the end where Steve actually cheats. But they don't catch him.
Why'd you ruin it? I was going to say I'm going to go check it out.
Spoilers.
In Munchkin, cheating might be in the
you
rules. Because I know, like, Illuminati, which is also a Steve Jackson game, basically, in the rules it says you can cheat.
Regardless, that was a spoiler, totes.
Oh.
Party foul.
Well, I'm just...
You ruined my Christmas.
Well, since it's already ruined, basically...
There's no Santa Claus.
In Munchkin, there is no Santa Claus.
No!
The Easter Bunny's fake.
That is not true. Easter Bunny is real.
Well, okay, I won't explain how he cheats, but you'll see if you can spot it. Because they didn't.
So, do you find that show compelling?
The other players didn't.
Because I tried to watch the first episode, and I just couldn't, I think they were playing Small World, and, because I already play that game, I just couldn't watch it.
Yeah, it's, they played a couple games that I already play, and those were kind of like, oh, okay, this is kind of, to me at that point, it's almost more fun to see their interactions, the interactions between the different players. But for something like Munchkin that I've never played before, but I would, really like to play, it definitely served as a good primer for the game. So I've not had a chance to watch the Small World game yet, or episode yet, or the one with zombie dice. And I think that one was actually a short one that had like a few short games.
Zombie dice is awesome.
Okay, so what is this called again?
It's called Tabletop.
Okay.
It's produced by basically Felicia Day started this kind of geek web show network called Geek and Sundry. But if you're interested in, like I know we talked about Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride, and they do have those on there as well, where they show those. So if you have any interest in playing anything, I would definitely recommend checking it out and see if they've got a video where they all play that, because like I said, I do really feel like it's a good primer for that game.
Yeah,
Have you ever played 52 card pickup?
Hell yeah.
It's
a pretty great game.
That was a favorite game of mine when I was a kid. could do it for days.
I think X is saying let's change the topic because he can't join in. Biggie, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tribes.
Tribes, sure.
Because that's a free to play game, and you were complaining about the free to play model.
Right. So,
is it pay to win?
well, that's what they're making it be. At least that's what I feel like it to be. So when I started playing about a little over a month ago, because my gold ran out. So I bought in. I was like, I like this enough. I'm going to pay money to accelerate the unlocking of weapons because the amount of game hours that you have to put in to unlock using the base currency is just ridiculous. So what they've just done in the latest patch is they've released new weapons that replace and obsolete all the earlier weapons. So I'm just like I'm almost at the point of quitting the game because I'm like, so now you're asking me to pay up again. Otherwise, I'm gonna have shittier weapons than all those people who have joined now and have bought in, and are not gonna waste the time unlocking the weaker weapons. Like, and it's just
How much?
How much what? How much does it cost?
Money.
Well, I gave them $50, and I did not unlock everything.
That's a lot of money.
I didn't. Yeah, I know. I really was impressed with the game, and like, it is super high quality. It is a AAA quality game. It match makes super fast. It has that gameplay of Tribes 2, which I really liked. So I was like, I'm gonna reward them. And now that money's all run out, I feel like if I don't pay up more money, I'm gonna just fall behind in the against the Joneses, in the weapon race.
Right.
And that just really, it's like kind of like I feel burnt now. I feel like I invested in that game, and now that investment is being totally devalued.
Well, yeah, that doesn't sound like a good free to play model. Like X said, pay to win.
Yeah, like Planet Side 2 is going to be free to play, and they've been saying they are not going to be pay to win at all. That's their exact words. I hope that is the case. Planet Side 2 looks pretty awesome.
Well, it's not like
I played Tribes a little bit.
I don't know if pay to win is a little too harsh because I mean if you have skill, you'll probably still beat someone with the shittier guns, right? But it gives them an advantage. So I guess that is pay to win.
That is definitely pay to win.
That's the definition of pay to win.
League of Legends, I don't play League of Legends, but doesn't League of Legends do this too? Every time they release new heroes, it obsoletes all the old heroes, and everyone jumps over and pays up for the new heroes, and then they nerf them like a week or two later.
I have no idea.
I'll take your word for it because I don't play League of Legends.
Ryan Scott is not here.
Like,
if he was here, we could ask him.
I don't know. I'm just scared of the free-to-play future because I see all these games where they're making design decisions just to extract money out of your wallet, and basically making the non-paying experience so bad that it will kill the communities at some point.
I think Team Fortress 2 does it right.
But that's not fair. That game did not start as free-to-play.
It's true, but it is free to play now.
Right.
So if somebody that having never played it before can jump right in and have a great time with it and not have to spend a cent.
But
I think what Biggie is saying is
to be a free-to-play game originally, right?
Yeah, Team Fortress 2 came out. It was a paid product. They already made their revenue off of it. Because Tribes 2 is like right out the gate, it's a free-to-play model. They need to make their money back, right? They spent all this time like developing this game. And so because of that, they adopted their pay to win policy. So I think that's what he's saying.
Right, but
That's
I'm
what he's
saying
saying, right?
the Team Fortress model though works though because people do spend money on their store.
But not most of the companies making free to play games. Free to play is like that is their sole revenue stream. Valve is a bad example because Valve doesn't even have to release any games to make shitloads of money because they have a distribution engine.
That is true. But Team Fortress 2 has made a ton of money for them after it went free to play.
I don't doubt it, but I'm just saying it's not a good free to play example because it didn't start as a free to play game. So free to play is not at the core of its design ethos. Right? The weapon balancing, all of that is unaffected by the pay to play model. Right? All you're buying for is strictly cosmetic.
Well, that's how Dota 2 is also.
Yes. But again...
And that was designed free-to-play from the ground up.
Which is why I think Dota 2 will win out in the long run, because they're not commoditizing the heroes. Whereas if you're commoditizing the heroes, then you feel disincentive to play because all that time invested in a hero might just disappear.
So what you're saying is Valve gets it.
Valve can be less aggressive, so yes, they get it. They don't have to commoditize as hard, right? They feel comfortable commoditizing on something that is less compelling.
Right, because they already have billions of dollars.
They don't need to milk as many whales. Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
I just want
there would be Half-Life 3.
I just want to talk about a free-to-play model that I really liked. Was Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Then play it.
I played it after they went free-to-play, and the way that they did their model was you could make certain characters. You would have limited, character creation slots and stuff like that. But basically, they would have you locked out of certain quest chains that you couldn't do. So if you went subscription, then you could play like all those quest chains and all the different quests, and that was a lot of fun. And that was a game which I thought like they offered enough in their free-to-play. I ended up actually getting a subscription for a couple months and playing the content with some of my friends. I think that was a good system.
I thought they if one person bought the dungeon, everyone else in your party could also access it.
Well, what happens is they have a in-game currency that you use, and you can buy like passes to the dungeons, and you can use these gift passes. So like you let them, for the next 2 hours you have access to this quest chain.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so me and my other friend Cheese Bill, we were playing that, and our third friend Mad Roch, he didn't have the subscription, so we would buy him the gift passes and we would just play together.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I like that kind of model, especially in games like the problem with the free-to-play like MMO model is they make you grind so much. I felt like this was a huge problem with there was a Korean some kind of Asian free-to-play MMO that I played. I can't remember the name, but it was like you had to grind like the same missions. No, it wasn't MapleStory, but it was an action RPG, one of those things, and you just had to grind the same missions over and over and over for experience, and then these items so you could unlock the next quest chain, and that was like super annoying to me.
Vindictus?
Totoro's favorite, free-to-play game. Vindictus, yes.
That is his favorite. I think it's his favorite game, period.
I hear he thinks about that, when his wife isn't, doing it for him.
Have you jumped into any of the free-to-play games that have come to Steam?
I played Spiral Knights a little. I did not like it at all.
It was like Kitty Phantasy Star Online. What's not to love?
It is not like Phantasy Star Online.
There was way too much grinding in Spiral Knights. The only person that I know who loved Spiral Knights is Apant1 from
he's been on the podcast
TF2
before.
Nights. Yes, he has.
Yeah, I just played it.
Also, we played Super Monday Night Combat and what was that one that Dota clone?
League of Legends.
We played that.
New Earth?
No.
A Rise of Immortals?
Yeah, we played it during the winter Steam sale for the achievement so we could get the prize.
Mm-hmm.
That was okay.
But no one's playing Lord of the Rings or anything like that.
Totoro loves Lord of the Rings. That's his second favorite to Vindictus.
Yeah, I refuse to talk about Vindictus.
It's because of spiders.
Will you play Knights of the Old Republic when it goes free to play?
I played a little bit of it, but it just wasn't as good to me as like anything else. But I do love Lotro. Lotro is really good. The story I found it to be really good. I played that fairly extensively for a few years, up through the Mines of Moria expansion. The only reason I quit was that at the time I didn't have a computer that was a really good gaming PC, and when I would go on these raids, my computer would slow down so much and that it really didn't work. So I was like, well, I've kind of gone as far as I can to this point.
Has anyone played APB Reloaded?
No.
That's a free-to-play game.
I played Tailgate London for a while. That game was not very good.
I might try APB someday. It has good graphics compared to other free-to-play games. That's something.
I think we should move on to Moviebox, unless anyone has anything else to say.
Play Lotro.
X, why don't you give your listeners and what Moviebox is?
It's a movie club, every week a community member chooses a different movie, and then we watch it and talk about it on the podcast and on the forums. There's a sign-up thread on the forums in the movie section. You can just post in there saying you want in, and I'll add you to the list.
And this week's
kind of close to the end of the list, aren't we?
Yes, it's gonna go through
for this round
again.
Okay.
But Biggie is here.
Yep.
Mainly because this week was his Moviebox pick. Biggie, you want to go ahead and explain it?
Yeah. So I picked a film, an Aykroyd movie called Dr. Detroit, which I don't know. This was like a Sunday evening special in my household. We used to watch it on TV a lot. And it's the story of a mild-mannered geek named Squidlow, who becomes the biggest, baddest pimp in Chicago and defeats the evil pimp empire of Mum. And just found it to be a fun. I think it has those same vibes as Trading Places. Not as strong a movie as that movie, but still a fun, silly 80s comedy. And the kind of movie you just can't make nowadays because of the subject matter. Because basically, it's about prostitutes.
I thought it was a kind of dumb, unfunny version of Trading Places. I didn't
like it
really
at all? You didn't like the...
This movie was 90 minutes
Damn
long.
straight.
It really seemed like it was much longer.
You didn't like the James Bond appearances?
James Brown was good. Just Dan Aykroyd should not be the main character of a movie. He needs to be part of an ensemble. Dan Aykroyd cannot carry a movie.
I don't know. I think you're being hard.
I don't know if I...
Name a good movie starring Dan Aykroyd as the main
Blues
character.
Brothers?
He is not the main character. He's part of
the
Blues Brothers. That is not... Like I said, he cannot do it by himself.
Belushi would carry like any movie he was in.
Yeah, he carried Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers 2000?
Ghostbusters? Come on.
Dragnet.
Dragnet. There we go.
Tom Hanks.
You guys really didn't like this movie, Totoro?
It wasn't bad. It was just...
That was bad.
It's not bad. It's just stupid.
It made a lot of unfunny jokes. A lot of unfunny jokes. I think the only character in the entire movie that actually got me to laugh was Freddy Krueger's mom.
Freddy Krueger's mom?
Actually,
Dan Aykroyd's mom?
It's his mom. But yeah, she also played Freddy Krueger's mom.
My mother's not for
Nightmare on Elm Street
sale.
3.
I just, what's shocking is I watched it again last night. I did not remember all that drug because I watched that movie as a kid.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
I was kind of surprised he didn't choke when he drank that.
Yeah, I'm amazed he wasn't more.
Oh yeah, and the
giant olive or whatever was in there.
I don't know. I just really. The movie is just so silly. Like, I mean, he turns his pants inside out. He takes on a scratchy voice and wears a metal claw, and all of a sudden becomes like the biggest badass on the face of the earth. Which I don't know. The geek redemption story, which I kind of like.
I don't think I'd call that a scratchy voice.
Mom, it's the doctor.
It's a super nasally, annoying voice.
Is it you just hate Dan Aykroyd?
No, I like Dan Aykroyd. I like him in Ghostbusters, Trading Places, movies where he can work off of someone that's funnier than him. Because he's great, like on Saturday Night Live or whatever, Coneheads. But again, he had Chris Farley to work with.
I've never actually seen Coneheads.
I think you guys are being overly harsh. I thought it was a fun 80s movie.
Like I said, I don't feel like I didn't not like it. It was just the 80s.
Where was the fun part?
The night on the town with all the prostitutes.
I thought
running around madcap style.
No. I just like the classic Dan Aykroyd.
I would much rather watch Trading Places.
I totally agree. Totally would agree with that. It's a better movie than this movie. But this movie is not bad. Just a stupid 80s romp. I mean, every plot device is set up, like explicitly set up in the movie. I mean, from the opening scene, you have the geek, you have the pimp, you have the prostitutes. They all show up within 30 seconds. You know exactly what's going to happen. They make fun of him. They need a patsy. The patsy's in the restaurant. It's just like bam, bam. You don't have to think. You just turn off your mind and watch the stupidity.
I liked his power walking at the beginning and the look on his face.
I mean, maybe you should drink a little bit of alcohol before you watch it. I don't know. You have to lower your standards. It was the 80s. It is Dan Aykroyd.
My standards cannot get lower than they are.
All right.
I would say that it was not as 80s as The Last Dragon. Oh, no, it was not as 80s as The Gate that X chose, but it was more 80s than The Last Dragon.
How?
I don't know about that. I think The Last Dragon is a more 80s movie, but it is very 80s because music plays so much of the narrative component, which is very typical of 80s movies.
Devo did the theme.
And what I mean, X, is that for me, like 80s, like really reminds me of like those horror type movies that Gate was, and maybe not so much of like The Last Dragon.
But The Last Dragon was all of 80s music put into a movie.
But you forget, I was not exposed to popular music in the 80s.
So you didn't like Smooth Walker?
I didn't listen to popular music till I was in high school, which was in like the late 90s.
You didn't like DeBarge?
I wasn't exposed to it.
So I could say you didn't like, and then make up something that doesn't exist, and you'd be like, I don't know.
Probably.
I'm not going to do that.
You're totally going to do that.
I'm not going to do it.
Totoro, anything else about...
You didn't like the flaming water bottles?
Totoro, anything else about this movie? I think X didn't like it. I liked it, and Totoro's like, meh, whatever.
Of all of Dan Aykroyd's movies, this appears to be the one that grossed the least.
Don't doubt it.
It only made $10.8 million.
And they promised a sequel at the end.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That was pretty good. I love that.
The Wrath of Mom. It's a parody of The Wrath of Khan.
I just loved how it ends.
That was a Star Trek reference.
It ends with the text explaining what happens to all the characters. That stuff.
And you didn't like serving KFC to the bunch of academics, like fooling.
It was so obvious that they were going to do something like that.
What are you expecting?
I have seen some 80s movies, sir.
Yeah, you're expecting what, high art?
This is a bad one. No. Do you not know my taste in movies?
No, apparently not.
Dakazu, explain my taste in movies.
Bad.
Yeah. Different.
Okay, so here's my question. 16 Candles, yay or nay?
Bad.
I don't think I've seen it.
Breakfast Club, yay.
I like Breakfast Club. Yay.
Nay.
Oh, big yay.
I haven't seen it.
What?
Oh, yay. Definitely.
You need to watch more 80s movies.
I love Say Anything.
Trading Places? Weird Science.
Yay.
Weird Science, meh.
I don't know. That's like...
One Crazy Summer.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Well,
Better Off Dead.
Big yay.
The Thing.
Yay.
Big yay.
No, I'm talking strictly I want
comedy
comedies.
Captain Ron.
Comedies. Captain Ron could go die.
Was that the 90s?
Captain Ron was like that. Captain Ron, I think, was like early 90s.
Overboard?
I think
Martin Short.
Overboard probably is still the 80s, and no, that movie can die in a fire.
Yeah, that's like 87,
I don't know.
88.
I think this movie is funny. And
Three Amigos.
No, nay.
What?
I didn't like that movie.
What?
I hate
Three Amigos?
Martin Short.
Why?
He's Canadian.
What do to you?
Would you say
he's one of your countrymen?
So is Dan Aykroyd.
Would you say you have a plethora of dislike for Martin Short?
You know, I liked him on Second City, but I've never liked him in any movies.
Not even Clifford?
The Big Red Dog?
No. Where he plays a character named Clifford.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
Like, I think Charles Grodin was in that movie with him.
He plays a 9-year-old kid in the movie Clifford. The most annoying character he's ever played.
I remember that.
Instead of getting a kid to play him, he played a 9-year-old kid.
Oh, wait, I think I do remember that movie. Don't think I've seen it, though.
It's not good. Spoilers.
Well, yes, because they're 80s movies. 80s movies are...
I'm not sure that one was 80s,
80s comedies are
Clifford
usually,
was in the 90s.
Particularly atrocious.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 2.
I think that was 90.
Ghostbusters 2... You know, they were defending it on the Geekbox this week, and
1989.
maybe I need to go back and watch it again.
1992.
I still think that movie is bad, but I do quote it a lot, so I don't know what that says.
The Titanic just arrived.
So
when did The Jerk come out?
Oh, The Jerk is an awesome movie.
1978.
Anyway, I think if it's
That could be right.
If it's on instant streaming, you should check it out.
79.
Because the soundtrack is fun, and it's silly, it's stupid. Howard Hessman, what's not to like?
I would say if you want to check out some, classic Dan Aykroyd being Dan Aykroyd in the 80s, then yeah, check it out. I am not like, oh man, can't believe what a waste of time. I'm definitely glad I saw it because it was another Dan Aykroyd movie that I got to see.
And you also saw Dan Aykroyd's wife in that movie.
Yeah, she played the blonde.
Donna Dixon, I think is the actor, but Monica, yeah.
So, next week's movie box pick is... Who is it? Mrs. Totoro?
Yeah, Mrs. Totoro. And she has chosen the Alfred Hitchcock classic, Rebecca.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
It stars Laurence Olivier and I'm wanting to say Joan Fontaine. But, yeah, it's definitely my favorite Hitchcock movie that it was based on a Daphne du Maurier novel.
Wait, that's really specific. Yeah. Are you saying it's your favorite Hitchcock?
Well,
or
no. It's my favorite Hitchcock that was based on a Daphne du Maurier novel, because at least one other Hitchcock movie was based on a Daphne du Maurier novel, which was The Birds.
So you prefer this over The Birds? The Birds is really good.
Yes.
Birds is pretty good.
But this is so much better. This movie has one of, this is not hyperbole. This movie has one of the absolute most quintessential villains in the history of cinema.
Even better than Hans Gruber?
Yes. Yeah.
Hans Gruber.
Yeah. I would put her up there with like your Nurse Ratcheds, with your Darth Vaders. I mean, she's just like a pure bitchy cunt whore bitch.
I'd put Hans Gruber.
That's pretty strong
Darth
language
Vader.
for 1940.
She is really horrible. And if I recall correctly, a little bit of trivia about this movie is that I think this won Alfred Hitchcock his only Oscar, and he famously gave the shortest Oscar acceptance speech in history. Just 2 words, thank you, and then like walked off.
Awesome.
So, but it's a really good movie. And this was one of the first movies that Mrs. Totoro and I watched together. Like, she had seen it before, but this kind of got me on to Alfred Hitchcock.
Awesome.
Cool.
How does it compare to Captain Ron?
I think new listeners are getting an understanding of X's choice of movies and his taste.
Overboard. If it doesn't star Goldie Hawn, it's a bad movie.
Well, you know,
she's not in Captain Ron.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking Overboard.
Martin Short is in Captain Ron
with Kurt Russell.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, X probably sees. Sir Laurence Olivier. Yeah, fuck that guy.
I know, he just stripped Prometheus.
I don't need any sirs in my movie.
Don't get me started on Prometheus. Honestly.
We already talked about Prometheus. We're not going to talk about it again.
I will say that it is the worst movie in the Alien. It's even worse than Alien vs. Predator 2.
Well, okay, you're crazy.
We're not going to talk about this. If you want to talk about this, you can go to forums.geekbox.net and go to the Prometheus thread and argue about it. I'm going to type
an egg letter.
And way worse than Alien Resurrection.
And while you're at forums.geekbox.net, you can also come send us a PM to either Totoro, Mr. X, or me, Dakazu, and ask if you want to be on the podcast, or if you want to, join Moviebox, or shoot us questions. We have Twitters and an email. Totoro?
At alltalk podcast, and podcast at alltalk podcast is the email.
And Dakazu will read any tweet you send us. Any tweet.
I said I would read any tweet if David Lynch listened to our Twin Peaks podcast.
I'm pretty sure he listened.
You have no proof.
Prove that he didn't.
He was one of the 2 people that downloaded it. I was the other one.
Oh my god. Big special thanks to Ryan Higgins again for pimping that podcast and then posting on his Twitter and making sure we got all those downloads. Remember when he laughed about me calling him internet celebrity? Well, yeah. It still helped. I want to thank Biggie for being on this podcast this week.
No
thank
problem.
you, Biggie. And I did this outro all out of order, so is there anything I'm forgetting?
Special guest stumble.
Yes, special guest Tumble. I want to thank him too for always being here, supporting us.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Rodney? How dare you, Rodney?
Go listen to episode 19 to get that inside joke. We have lots of inside jokes. Oh, I totally forgot. X, we need to mention the TF2.
Yes, TF2 2-year anniversary going to be Sunday, July 1st. There will be free stuff.
2-year
Canada
anniversary.
Day.
Yes, TF2 Canada Day.
Really?
Well, the server does have a lot of
the day
Canadians
of my
on it,
birthday.
so it kind of fits.
I'll have your
People will be giving out stuff. I, for example,
182.
have a copy of LA Noir to give out.
I have a Steam copy of Bastion. Biggie has agreed to donate a
Yeah, I have a
bunch
whole
of
bunch
games
of stuff.
that he has.
I'm gonna try and get one as well.
For some reason, I like to buy 4-packs, yet I have no friends.
So prizes give friends. You can just give those to me.
I'll take something.
So prizes galore,
You know
lots
what?
of fun.
I will throw in a copy of Quantum Conundrum.
Whoa, you heard it here first.
Sweet.
Big
Hope I
spender.
win it.
Mr. Moneybags over here.
So if you want, are we going to be posting that like in a thread or on the official TF2 game night thread on the forums, I guess?
Yes, we've already been talking about it.
So June
And
1st.
I will
reminding
post an
everyone.
announcement on
July.
the Steam group ahead of the scheduled event to give a heads up.
Sweet. And finally, don't forget to listen to the other podcasts, including the Geekbox, Comic Conspiracy, the Comedy Button, and Good Job Brain as well. And I think that about wraps it up. Thanks for listening. I love you.
I know.